It wasn't just a game, it was a test. A harsh, deliberate, almost merciless trial. Inside a grand mansion with gleaming marble floors, and the faint ticking of an antique clock, the master's study held an open safe. Under the sparkle of a chandelier, stacks of crisp cash lay piled like bricks of temptation, surrounded by gold chains and shimmering diamonds. He had planned it perfectly. He knew she would pass this way. He even knew the exact minute she'd step inside. Hidden behind the archway, Alexander Ashworth, the man who had made millions yet trusted no one, waited. His eyes weren't filled with anger, but with a tense, expectant silence. He wanted to see what she would do. Yet, he had no idea that within the next few moments, his guarded heart, one he believed was long dead, would crack wide open. If you believe in the power of second chances, in the quiet strength of honesty, and in kindness that still changes lives, then pause for a moment. Like this video. Subscribe to KindnessTalks, and share this story with others. Because sometimes the smallest unseen choices speak the loudest. Her name was Camila. 32 years old, slim, soft-spoken, her dark eyes carried unspoken stories. For the past 7 months she had worked at the Ashworth estate. A widow raising 2 young daughters, caring for a mother fighting cancer. Camila lived with burdens heavier than most could endure. Yet she bore them silently. Each morning before sunrise, she tied her hair into a neat bun, stepped into her plain uniform, and began her work without a word of complaint. To most, she was invisible. Just another servant fading into the background of marble halls and silver trays. But to Alexander Ashworth, the reclusive millionaire who had inherited fortune but never known peace, she was different. Alexander had built his life on suspicion. People had stolen from him, betrayed him, used him. His ex-wife had taken half his wealth in divorce. Former employees had siphoned funds. Friends turned out to be opportunists. He had armored himself with walls. Steel ones around his vault. And thicker ones around his heart. And then Camila arrived. She didn't flatter him. She didn't pry. She didn't linger in his presence longer than her duties required. Every background check came out spotless. Almost too spotless. To Alexander, her honesty felt suspicious, almost threatening. Could anyone truly be this good? That doubt birthed the test. On a quiet Wednesday morning, he ordered the safe in his study to be left wide open. Security cameras were shut down, guards removed. No one would know except him. He wanted to see if temptation would corrupt her. At exactly 8:42 a.m., Camila entered with her cleaning rag in hand. At first, she didn't notice. But when sunlight reflected off the open steel door, she froze. Her eyes widened. Her breath caught. The room was silent. Slowly, she walked closer. Her hand hovered near the stacks of money, but she didn't take anything. Instead, she pulled out her rag and quietly began wiping the edge of the safe, careful not to shift a single note. She cleaned it as though it were just another dusty corner of the mansion. Then something remarkable happened. Camila reached into her pocket and unfolded a small, worn photograph. 2 little girls grinned in front of a hospital bed, beside an older woman smiling faintly. Her daughters, her ailing mother. She glanced at the hallway, whispered something so softly that even Alexander couldn't hear, then kissed the photo gently before tucking it back into her pocket. With calm hands, she closed the safe door. Alexander stepped back into the shadows, shaken. He had expected weakness, a stolen bill, maybe even hesitation. Instead, he witnessed love, loyalty, and strength. It wasn't greed that guided her. It was devotion. That night, Alexander couldn't sleep. The image of Camila with the photo, her quiet dignity in the face of temptation, replayed over and over. The test was never truly about her. It was about him. His mistrust, his scars, his refusal to believe goodness still existed. And now, he saw it living under his very roof. The next morning, Camila discovered an envelope waiting for her on the kitchen counter. The handwriting was unmistakably Alexander's. Inside, a simple note read, Integrity is priceless. But so is peace. You've given me both. Your daughters and your mother deserve a life without fear. Please accept what's enclosed. Not as a payment, not as a reward, but as a thank you. But inside was a signed blank check. Camila sat down, trembling. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she pressed the letter to her chest. For the first time in years, the crushing weight of bills, treatments, and looming eviction felt lighter. She hadn't stolen. She hadn't begged. She had simply chosen honesty. And it had given her family hope. That weekend, Alexander did something even rarer. He visited Camila's modest home. Not as her employer, but as a friend. He sat at her table, laughed with her daughters, and brought documents to help her buy a safer home. He offered her a promotion with full benefits and flexible hours. But above all, he offered something no one had given her in a long time: trust. Sometimes the truest victories are not celebrated with applause, but with choices made in silence. Sometimes the wealthiest souls are not the ones guarding safes of gold, but the ones who live in truth even when no one is watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Talks. Here, we tell true emotional stories that remind the world of the quiet power of humanity. And before you leave, tell us in the comments, what would you do if no one was watching?